One thing that becomes a little confusing for injured workers who are forced to file a lawsuit for workers' comp benefits against their employer is the communication aspect between the employee, the injured worker, and the employer. Now that the injured worker is represented by counsel and a lawsuit has been underway, what happens to the communication dealing with when they return back to work, work status, what type of job they're doing, and the like? The approach that we take is that as the representative, the hired attorney for the injured worker in the litigation, we do not necessarily communicate at any time with the employer unless it's absolutely necessary. If counsel has been hired by the insurance company to represent the employer, that's who we, the attorneys, deal with. However, if an office manager, someone in HR, a supervisor, and the like, reaches out to to their employee, our client, we encourage them to have that communication so long as it sticks to and is only about employment status. For example, if a supervisor calls our client who has returned to work limitations and is expected back in the workplace, even if they have a lawsuit filed, they still may be employed by the company, depends on the status and situation. But if the supervisor expecting our client to return back to work because the authorized workers' compensation doctor has said that they can return but with limitations, our client is expected to communicate with their supervisor and return back to work. If they don't, then they're subject to being terminated or the like. But it does become confusing what to say, who to talk to, and the like. Every situation is different. That's why we encourage constant communication between client and attorney. This way everybody's on the same page. The client, the injured worker, who is hopefully a little bit less stressed by having that knowledge and information. So communication is the key between attorney and client. Communication is also the key between injured worker and their employer or supervisor in the right scenarios. If you have this situation or if it's confusing for you, just give us a call. 205-930-6900 is our office number. Nomberglaw.com is our website.